Dear students, this is weekend story time. And here is the title of our today's story, Sophie's Doll. Sophie was 8 years old. She was heartbroken for she had loved her mother so much and she had died a few years ago. All that she had to remember her mother was by a beautiful doll her mother had gifted to her. The doll was very dear to Sophie. Take good care of the doll, her mother had told her, and feed her and ask her for the help whenever you are in need. But never tell anybody about the doll. When Sophie's mother died, her father married a woman who already had two daughters. The two girls and their mother did not like Sophie. One day, Sophie's father went off on a long journey. Sophie was sad to see him going. That night was dark and dull. Sophie missed her mother and father both. Sophie's stepmother set the three girls to work. They were asked to weave and stitch. The girls were left with only one candle burning, and the mother went to bed. After some time, one of the daughters plucked the wick out of the candle and put it out. She told Sophie to go and bring a new wick for the candle from Baba Saga. Sophie shrouded, for she knew that Baba Saga was a cruel wizard. She wept as she picked up her doll and a crust of bread and set off for the dark forest to go and get wick of the candle. As Sophie neared the forest, she fed her doll with some bread. She sobbed, "Please help me now. Nobody can save me from cruel Baba Saga's wrath." The doll chewed on the bread and said, "Have no fear, Sophie. No harm will come to you. I'm there always with you." She walked and reached the darkest area of the forest, where there was Baba Saga's hut. As soon as Sophie reached Baba Saga's hut, she had a terrible sight. There were skulls and bones all around the hut. Soon she saw that Baba Saga came out of his hut, cackled loudly, and screamed, "I smell the flesh of a young girl." Sophie was really very scared, but somehow she managed to muster up her courage and step forward and said, "I am Sophie. My stepsister sent me for getting the wig from you." "Oh, I know those girls and their mother too. All are greedy." He further said, "Well, you will get the wig unless you work for it. You must clean the house, sweep the yard, wash the linen, and cook the dinner." With that, Baba Saga stormed off to bed. Sophie took the doll from her pocket and gave her the piece of bread. "Oh, little doll," cried Sophie, "how am I to do all these tasks? How can you help me now?" Sophie, have no fear, whispered the doll. Say your prayers and go to sleep. Sophie went to sleep on the floor by the stove. Next morning, she woke up and looked around. She did not know where to begin. The place was so filthy. Then, just as she was about to start her work, she heard a strange sound. It was Baba Saga again. He was screaming at Sophie for not getting up on time and serving him the breakfast. Sophie went immediately. As soon as she reached the kitchen, she saw that the breakfast was ready and the tray was lying on the shelf. She picked up the breakfast tray and went to serve the breakfast to Baba Saga. Baba Saga warned her once again to do the house chores before he arrives back home. Sophie longed to be out in the fresh open air, but she had much to do. She turned to start her work. She was surprised to find that it was all done. The room was sparkling, the yard was cleaned, the linen was washed, and in the kitchen, the vegetables were already chopped. The bread was in the oven, and the meat was in the trays, ready to be cooked. Sophie smiled at the little doll and then went out to sit in the sunshine. What a pleasant day she had! Sophie rested the whole day long and felt relaxed. She was resting in the garden chair when she heard a strange sound. The wizard stormed into the house. As he looked around and saw how clean everything was, he felt very happy. Baba Saga came to Sophie and asked her, "Who did all the house chores in a very little time? I know that it was not possible for a little girl like you to do all this alone." Sophie was about to answer him that it was done by her doll that was gifted to her by her mother, but she stopped. She had recalled her mother's words. Her mother had told her not to tell anyone about the doll. Sophie convinced Baba Saga that all was done by her alone and she was very tired after all this. Baba Saga was soon convinced by Sophie's words. Sophie had fulfilled her promise. Now it was Baba Saga's turn to keep the promise. He presented the wick to Sophie. Sophie was very happy now. She was happy that now her candle will light and her stepmother will not scold her for anything. Thanks for watching.